When I was driving to work this morning, I was listening to another radio station, as we broadcasters sometimes do. What I heard shocked and saddened me.
The Entertainment Roundtable.
They're here, nerds.
Wait, is this the group that goes around mutilating squirrels?
You just mind your P's and Q's, Buster, and remember who you're dealing with.
Well, at least we found them.
Fortuitous, Captain. And now that we have them all together,
you can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs.
The Entertainment Roundtable.
They make one person go, blah, 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 and the other person go, what are you talking about? And then one person goes, blah, 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 blah.
It's kind of the way I feel about what's coming out in movie theaters this week. Hey, welcome into the show. It is the Entertainment Roundtable as we kick off things on the weekend here. We are pre-recorded here on this weekend, so sorry we can't take your phone calls, but we appreciate you listening in. Jeff behind the board, good morning/evening, depending on exactly what time they're listening to the show.
Good day, sir.
How are you?
I said good day.
Yes, good day. And he's done. David, welcome in.
Guten Morgen, Steve.
Oh, good grief, really? And that'll leave us to see where Josh, who is on the phone, is going to go with his greeting.
I feel like everybody's upstaged me. I'm just going to say hi.
Weak sauce.
Ryan is at Comic-Con, and our good friend Jacob not able to call in this week because of prior obligations, so you're going to have to put up with the four of us. Don't forget about checking us out online, Facebook page, facebook.com/whatever with Steve West, or on Twitter at 101 Roundtable. Anybody have the chance to see any movies last weekend?
I saw 300.
Oh, okay. We'll get to that in a second.
I saw nothing.
You saw nothing, David?
I saw an old movie from 2010 or 11.
What?
Get Low with Robert Duvall and Bill Murray.
I'm somewhat familiar with the film. I don't know as I've actually seen all of it, though. Was it good?
Then I watched Ride Along as well, so I've seen two films.
Oh, wow.
And yes, it was good.
Good. Okay. Well, with that said, Josh, I guess we'll get our reviews from you because that's where we're going to start off. In at number 10 on the top 10 movies of the weekend is Ride Along. Made another $2 million, $130 million. The only review we've gotten so far on this was AJ, who said that he actually found it quite funny. Did you agree with that?
I think we've got a bad connection.
We might. Josh, can you hear me? Have we got anything going back down the phone line to him? Yeah,
we had a bad connection.
Yeah, we had a bad connection. Okay. I thought maybe we had something going back down the phone line towards him, but apparently not. So we will wait, and hopefully he will call back in. That may be him right there. Right along in at number 10, made $2 million, $130 million. This thing, so far the biggest comedy of the year, and to something of a surprise to me, but I don't know. We'll see. AJ said it was good. Most of the people that I've talked to said Kevin Hart was really funny.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. We'll see. All right, let's try it again.
Oh, yeah, that was totally on me.
Oh, was it on you?
Yeah, I forgot to take the ads out of...
We were sending stuff back down to you, Josh. Yeah. Sorry about that.
I'm back. No, it's okay.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, so as we were last trying to talk to you, our good friend AJ, who was an occasional contributor to the show as well, said that he really liked the movie. He gave it about, I want to say, a 7.5, 8 out of 10. Was it as funny as AJ thinks it is?
It was. It was really funny. It started out slow, and I was like, this is going to be one of those stupid comedies. But it really had a lot of heart to it. And near the end of it, I had total buy-in, and I was behind the characters. Kevin Hart was hilarious. So I'd probably give it like maybe a 4 out of 10 or 5 out of 10, probably 5 out of 10. Solid 5 out of 10.
You've made so many puns lately when you say it's got a lot of heart to it.
No,
starring Kevin Hart.
I could not resist.
Got that play on words thing going on here.
It was funny, and I liked the characters. I liked the balancing in the between the two different kinds. One very kind of happy, outgoing kind of guy, and the other one kind of a mopey, serious guy. And I thought it was funny. I laughed a lot.
So we found out within the past couple of weeks this is going to have a sequel. Can you see where they're going to pick up?
Oh yeah, there's endless amounts. I mean, he can be I guess now he's probably going to be on the force and be an actual cop. And you can go anywhere with that. So, I mean, there's no real limits to where you can go with it.
So you say you're along for the ride wherever they go.
Yeah, I'm along for the ride because there's so much heart in this film.
Nice.
Wow.
Why?
Our Lego movie puns and plays on words have just translated over into the next weeks. In at number 9, 12 Years a Slave, 2.1 million, 53 there. Frozen just keeps racking up money, 2.9 million, $393 million for this. And we mentioned this a few weeks ago. This is now, of Disney animated films, not including Pixar, this is the most profitable film Disney has ever put out.
Also, Steve, I saw 12 Years a Slave. Sorry, I've been watching a lot of movies.
Well, by all means, tell us about 12 Years a Slave.
I don't want this to be like the Josh Walsh talking about movies he's seen.
Really? It's the Josh Walsh review segment.
After the Oscars, I had somehow missed the whole 12 Years a Slave phase thing. And I guess, a lot of these films get a revamp after the Oscars, and obviously it won. So I went to go see it. Honestly, it was a good film, but it was so hard to watch. And I rate films on, I'm a general audience kind of guy, like an everyman. I like to go see movies that, are received well by the general public, unlike some people in the show. So I didn't like it very much. I thought it was dragged out. There wasn't a lot of redemption to it. So I mean, I'll give it a 5 out of 10 just because it was well done filmmaking. But honestly, it was a little bit depressing, and there wasn't really in Schindler's List there's a redemption to it.
Yeah.
And I mean, he did save all these people, and there was an atrocities that happened, but it ended up okay in the end that he saved all these people and he learned and he grew as a person. There wasn't that. There really wasn't an emotional gratification for me in this film, so I didn't like it.
Do you understand why it got so much award buzz? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Is it obvious?
It's an award film. It's one of those kind of films.
Okay, so it's made specifically to try and garner statues.
Yeah, and it was well done. Don't get me wrong; it was well directed and it was well done. It's just honestly, there was no redeemable characters in it that I really could relate with. I mean, I agree. Obviously, the message of it's really strong, and it was terrible what happened. But I just, I prefer a Schindler's List kind of film where there's some sort of moral redemption to it.
Gotcha. Okay. Brings us up to number 7. The Kevin Costner film 3 Days to Kill made $3 million, 25.5. It sounds like it's underperforming. I mean, $25.5 million for a Kevin Costner action film? That seem low?
I can't imagine they had higher predictions for it.
And I understand. I mean, this is a late February, early March release. I don't think that they were expecting a major blockbuster, but still, it just seems kind of such a slow performer.
Yeah.
And plus, it's Kevin Costner. I never really expect a lot of box office from him.
It's an interesting thought. Up to number 6, The Monuments Men, $3 million there, 70.6 overall for it. In at number 5 is Son of God, $10.3 million in its second weekend, $41.9 million, and you and I talked about this a little bit, Josh, and
I think I predicted this.
Yeah, we talked about it last week on the show. This thing has gone down about 50%, a little bit more than 50% from what it did last
60,
week.
Almost.
Yeah, so that was kind of about where you figured it was going to go.
So, I would imagine, I kind of predicted that. Honestly, what happens is you have a lot of church buyouts. And opening weekend, they'll come in and they'll buy out showtimes, and that will spike the box office up a bunch. But honestly, the word of mouth didn't pick up. People didn't say it was a great film, so obviously people didn't like it as much as other films. So without that church buyouts, it just falls.
Still, $10.3 million, not too bad. So it looks like this will...
Not too bad, but it is a far fall from,
from the 25-26 that it did last week. To the Lego Movie, in at number 4, $10.9 million, $224.9 there. You got Nonstop, the Liam Neeson film, $15.8 million, $52.6. They're liking this better than 3 Days to Kill. Up to number 2, the debut of the animated Mr. Peabody and Sherman, $32.2 million.
Can't be good.
Can't be good?
I don't think it's that good for a DreamWorks film.
32 mil in March? I don't know, man.
Maybe. Could be wrong, but DreamWorks usually gets some pretty big box office from their films. So, with Kung Fu Panda, Shrek, the kind of films they usually... I'm not sure how much they spend on it, but that doesn't sound great to me.
Well, and you got to remember you're kind of splitting your money here because Frozen's in the top 10, Lego Movie's still in the top 10 here. So I'm wondering whether this might have some sticking power here. To me, that's going to be the question. Not just what it does in its opening weekend, what it does in weekend number 2, as we start to get a couple of, well, not necessarily this week, but we start to get some bigger movies out there to see if maybe this sticks around as a family option. And one of the other reasons why is because Frozen's about to hit DVD. We'll talk about that a little bit later as well. And then you get to number 1 and another film that you watched, $45 million, 300, Rise of an Empire. It's more than what I thought it was going to make in its opening weekend, but then again, that's just my opinion. Josh, what's your opinion of the film itself?
More than filmmakers thought it was going to make. I thought it was possibly the worst pieces of cinema I've seen in a very long time.
Okay.
I think if Leonidas would have watched this film, he would have thrown it in the hole that he threw everything else in the last film. It was terrible. I mean, it was full of cheesy lines, and it was full of this it was just garbage. And I hated it. So I'd give it like a 2 out of 10. Honestly, it was one of the worst movies I've ever seen. And watching it in 3D makes it even worse.
So you're saying we should consider this non-canon? It never happened in the world of 300. Just ignore that it happened.
It never happened.
This
and it's not even really in the world of 300 to me. It's such a different movie. This is the thing. J.J. Abrams said, if you're going to rip off Jaws, don't rip off the shark. Rip off the 2 guys on the boat. That's what you rip off, because that's where the heart of the story is, and there's a shark, and that escalates the story. This was all about the shark. They took everything from the last film, the violence, the glorified kind of stylization, and they like hyped the crap out of that, and there was no story. So, terrible film.
I don't know. It sounds kind of like more of the same to me. I mean, the first one was jingoistic macho cheese.
I like the first one.
I do too. I love it. This one actually.
I like the first one.
All right. I got to ask the question because, Josh, you and I went and saw what I feel is right now the leader in the clubhouse for the worst film of the year, Pompeii. How does this rate on a scale of Pompeii to 10?
Honestly, I think it was worse than Pompeii.
Wow.
You gave you gave Pompeii like a -5.
Yeah. This was like it's like they're competing on a level of terribleness that's like, how do you even judge? So like, there's cheesiness in Pompeii that was more cheesy than this, but then there's lines in this movie that I can't say on the radio because it'd be offensive, that you're like, no, they did not just say that. And it was ridiculous. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
So you've got a new leader in the clubhouse for worst film of 2014.
I definitely think so, yes.
I don't know. There's a part of me now that wants to check that out just for the cheesiness of it. But then again, I still have yet to watch the first one. It's kind of like one of the 2 films that comes out this weekend in wide release, Need for Speed. Aaron Paul, Dominic Cooper film loosely based upon the video game of the same name, where a kid by the name of Toby Marshall, sent to prison for a crime he didn't commit, plans vengeance upon those who put him in jail, leading him to enter a potentially deadly cross-country race. There's a part of me that wants to see this only because I really honestly feel like this is going to be one horrible piece of cinema.
I mean, that's what all the critics are saying. So, not that I always agree with them.
Well, that I can agree with, but still, that I think that's about the only reason I would see this film.
It's all real stunts, no CGI.
Well, I did hear that, and I'm impressed by that. And did you see? I take it you've seen interviews with Aaron Paul?
I haven't. I've seen the trailers and seen some headlines here and there.
Okay, I saw an interview with Aaron Paul. He was on the BBC America version of the show Top Gear. He was interviewed there, and he did their little, star in a reasonably priced car thing. And he was talking about how it was all done, real stunts. There's no CGI involved in there. And while they do have some of those cars for real, and there's some really expensive cars in there, like a Bugatti Veyron, which if you were to go and try to buy one, you better have at least $1 million in your pocket and then probably be prepared to go up.
And good luck getting it, because you're going to have to wait on a list for a while.
Exactly. But a lot of these, fiberglass shells, things like that. So obviously they didn't destroy all these cars, but when it comes to this plot, the plot seems tired, number one, and it seems a little contrived. To me, what they're trying to do is they're trying to build upon what, despite what Ryan feels about it, is a rather shallow franchise in the Fast and the Furious.
It's shallow, but it's heavy with money.
Well, I understand that, but there's probably more depth in Fast and Furious than there is in Need for Speed.
Good possibility. Honestly, I'll be there just because there's super nice cars and action, and hey, they kind of Breaking Bad it.
That's about the only reason I'm going to go see it, would be for the cars and just for the overall cheesiness of the film, and see if this would actually become, for me, worse than Pompeii.
Yeah. Are we just looking for the best bad film of this year now?
Hopefully we're getting rid of them all right now. That's what I'm hoping
for.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to guarantee it. The guy who dominated at the Razzie Awards, Tyler Perry, has a new film out. It's Tyler Perry's The Single Moms Club, starring Tyler Perry, along with Nia Long and Eddie Cibrian, a film about a group of single mothers brought together by an incident at the school that all of their children attend and the bond that's created by their friendship. One would assume Eddie Cibrian plays the guy who does something bad at the school. I don't know. But this is another Tyler Perry film, and we've mentioned this plenty of times, Josh. The Tyler Perry film has a built-in audience.
It does. I mean, the film's going to make $30 million. I can almost predict it, or give or take around that area, maybe a little bit more. And then it'll be done. And it's a built-in audience. They love him. He makes their content. He speaks their language, and they love it. And they buy it, and it works. And honestly, I like them sometimes. They're a different movie experience. They're not your commercial kind of movie experience, but I like him. I think that he communicates well with his audience. So all power to him.
All right. Out in limited release. If you're interested, got to check your local listings, but you might be able to check out movies like The Art of the Steal. A movie called Bad Words. This is a film that's actually slated to go into wide release here in just a couple of weeks. So if you can't find it now, just wait a couple of weeks. It'll be in a theater near you. Better Living Through Chemistry. Let's see. Big Men, The Den, Enemy. A movie called Patrick, Evil Awakens.
I can't wait for that.
Is that like SpongeBob SquarePants friend?
Could be. Not sure.
From the depths.
Indeed. No, let's see. 3 more. One called The Right Kind of Wrong, something called Teenage, and then we talked a little bit about it last week. And from what I can tell, it's still in limited release. The Kristen Bell movie Veronica Mars, based upon the TV show, they haven't put this in wide release yet.
I'm sure it's a gamble to put it in wide release at first, because I mean, obviously you have an audience that crowdsource funded it. So I imagine that they're probably trying to get that core group that helped make it, like the fans of the television show.
So they're still trying to spin it up?
Yeah, and it's similar to like the other film that's out right now that I'm completely missing the title of, the hotel film. What is that one?
The Grand Budapest?
Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. They have a built-in audience for the television show, so they want them to come out and make it a strong weekend like it was for Budapest Hotel. I think Budapest broke a record of for limited release. Did it 800,000?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the most lucrative, small release ever.
And it is slated to go into wider release here in the next week or so.
And that's what they do. See, now we're all talking about how well it did in its 2 theaters.
Right.
So it's the same thing with Veronica Mars. I imagine it's probably 300-400 theaters they're putting it into.
Yeah, something like that. It's not many.
No, well, for a $5 million film, they're probably spending like the same $5-10 million on P&A. They're probably going to just try to reach out for the Veronica Mars fan, and if it takes, then they'll expand. That's the way they kind of do that with those lower budget films.
Gotcha. Can you stick around for another segment, Josh? I know you got some things going on in relation to Mom's Night Out.
I got to run to a meeting. I wish I could, but you guys keep it going.
We'll do it, Josh. Thank you very much, and we will talk to you here real soon.
Sounds good.
Okay, bye-bye. Wow. Last week, I was talking about this, and we're about to get to a break. Last week is the total opposite of this week when it comes to movie versus TV news. Last week, we had virtually no television news. This week, we have a whole lot of TV news and virtually no movie news. It's amazing how we get kind of like,
equilibrium.
Sink or swim, rich man, poor man kind of thing.
Cycles, baby, cycles.
It's all equilibrium.
So when we come back, we will talk about movies that are coming out next week and the couple of pieces of movie news that we actually have, talk about what you might be able to get on DVD to bring home to watch in your home movie theater, and then we will prepare for one heck of a lot of television news right here on the Entertainment Roundtable.
They do all their own stunts. The Entertainment Roundtable on Superstation 101.
Hey, welcome back in, listening to the Entertainment Roundtable as we come back with the sounds of Creedence Clearwater Revival song, Fortunate Son. This is a song that if you happen to go watch the film Need for Speed, you will hear performed by Aloe Black. I couldn't find that version in time, so I went with the one that we're familiar with. So there you go. Again, Need for Speed, Tyler Perry's The Single Moms Club. Those are the films that are coming out in wide release this weekend, and a lot of people, I get the funny feeling, are waiting. Need for Speed might break top 5. Tyler Perry might skim into the top 5 because of that built-in audience, but I don't think that they're going to challenge for number 1.
Think 300 is going to get it another time?
I don't know about 300. I'm looking at Mr. Peabody and Sherman and thinking that maybe this thing's going to hold steady. And again, I think it'll drop. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's going to lose as much of its audience as 300 will.
I think Lego Movie will go back to number 1.
That'd be a trick, wouldn't it? So next week, I think most people are kind of waiting for that because next week you got the film that everyone's now calling the next Hunger Games. Divergent comes out. Plus, you got another family film called Muppets Most Wanted.
Oh, that'll hit number 1.
That's gonna be big. So one of those two is going to be number 1 next week. But this week, I don't know. When we are doing this show 1 week from today, I don't know what the number 1 film of the
Need
week
for
is going to
Speed.
be. Yeah, you
Need
think?
for Speed.
Well, I mean, really, this is all just kid stuff playing around until Captain America gets here in 20 days.
Yeah,
I know.
I mean, Divergent, I think, is probably going to make, well, depending on how good it is. I've heard some good things, and I've been reading some people that are saying, some early reviews that say it wasn't quite as good as the book. But then again, how many times have we seen where the movie's as good as the book? Not that often. So, I don't know. I think Divergent's probably going to make some pretty good money. I think Muppets Most Wanted is going to make some money. But yeah, other than, I can't say Frozen because Frozen was actually released last year. I'll go Lego Movie. That's legitimately a blockbuster film. But I think the first really, really big moneymaker of the year is going to be Captain America, which, again, March 4th. So we've got to wait a few more weeks, unfortunately. All right, so speaking of Captain America, let's kick off with the movie hero section, David. Not only do we have Captain America 2 coming out March the 4th, we also know and found out something notable about the release date of the third Captain America film.
Yeah, there's an unsubstantiated rumor that indicates that Warner Brothers is freaking out, planning on moving Batman vs. Superman up a week to April 29th, 2016, since Marvel just announced that Chris Evans and the Russos are back and opening Captain America 3 on May 6th, 2016. Based on the incredibly positive early reviews that the Winter Soldier is receiving, I don't blame them.
Yeah, I don't blame them either.
They need to protect their bat flick.
Well, yeah, I saw a story about that yesterday. It wasn't quite as detailed. Yesterday it was the fact that, Warner Brothers had moved Batman Superman back a little bit, and it just happened to be on the unnamed Marvel the same date,
Yeah.
So they've announced it's going to be Cap 3, huh? And WB's flinching. Okay.
Well, and I think, in all honesty, they know exactly which side of the bread's getting the butter right now, and that's Marvel. Marvel's doing it better than what they are.
I mean, this is going to be a DC sandwich, basically. Like, this is going to be like Marvel, then them kind of trying to be like, look, we got Batman and Superman, and then like another Marvel movie directly after, like a couple months later. They're gonna
what are they doing? 3 a year now?
2, but still,
I've read
2 in a TV series. I think they're doing enough.
Well, I've read an
they're putting out a lot
with Kevin Feige, where he says their plan is to eventually do 3, maybe even 4 Marvel movies a year.
Oh, I would love that.
I mean,
well, here's the trick, though. They've got to keep the quality up. I mean, what they've had so far, and I understand that they've had, hills and valleys here, but for the most part, they've had pretty consistent quality through your Iron Mans, through your one Captain America so far. But again, as you mentioned, we're getting good early reviews of Captain America 2. Thor has been, good in its first 2 runs. Obviously, $600 million for the first Avengers film. It's got everybody drooling over Age of Ultron coming out next year. The more I keep seeing of Rise of the Guardians of the Galaxy. I keep messing those two up. The more I keep seeing those Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, I know I shouldn't, but I do. For some reason.
Why you want to do
I
that,
go
Steve?
Guardians of the Galaxy, and for some reason, Rise of the Guardians just pops out.
I don't know. There's like a raccoon and Santa Claus.
Yeah, really,
I don't know.
Easter Bunny and some other tree thing. But with the buzz that's already getting out there, people are getting much more excited about that. At this point in time, Warner Brothers with DC is just having a hard time treading water with anything other than a Batman standalone.
Pretty much.
And I understand that Man of Steel made money, but it wasn't as good to me, and this is my opinion, it wasn't as good as Iron Man 3. It wasn't as good as Thor 2.
Okay.
Wait, what?
Like I said, feel free to disagree. But just looking at the overall quality of what I've seen, if you set aside the Batman films, which have pretty much consistently stood alone anyway.
Uh-huh.
What they're putting out movie-wise for DC Comics is just not as good as what Marvel's been putting out as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought it was so obvious. I don't know why. I don't know. I'm a DC guy. I love Marvel. Love me some Marvel. But
right.
I yearn for a good Batman movie.
At least DC's got them on television right now. You know?
That's true. They do. Arrow's doing fantastic.
And if they don't put Arrow and the new Flash and all, if they don't make that a part of the cinematic universe, like, they're idiots. They're fools.
Oh, I'd agree with that.
And Greg Berlanti's still saying they don't know. Like, they haven't heard anything. So,
well, sooner or later, I mean, they keep talking about eventually coming out with the Justice League film. I mean, for all intents and purposes, you might as well say that the Batman-Superman mashup is like a prequel to a Justice League film, because they're putting Wonder Woman in there.
Well, we don't even know what this is called yet. We really don't.
Yeah, they haven't really said. It could be Man of Steel 2, could be Batman versus Superman, it could be any number of things. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
But
no idea.
We've already confirmed that Wonder Woman is in there. How much, more would it take to go ahead and once we get The Flash, and we're going to talk about that coming up here in a little bit, once we get that established as a TV show, it wouldn't be that hard to pull those actors out and put them into the films.
No, it really wouldn't. And they should. They're especially on Arrow, they're really universe building with that show, with all the characters they're introducing. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
They're hinting at the Suicide Squad now. Come on, guys. Let's just go ahead and do this thing right.
Yeah, but you can tell they're having a little bit of fun with the teasing.
I'm fine with the teasing, but I mean, if they want to tease it into a situation where we have a full-blown Suicide Squad movie, which they've already talked about, like we talked about that a few weeks ago, where they're talking about doing a lot of smaller pictures like Suicide Squad, and I really think they should just get on the ball, man. This is ridiculous. Marvel's destroying them.
Yes. I agree.
Thank you, Marv Albert.
I concur, sir.
Knowing that we're going to be talking about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. here in a minute, you brought them up a second ago. In just an overall viewpoint, have you kept up with it?
I have, yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Agree or disagree? Getting better?
Oh, yeah.
Baby steps, but getting there.
Okay. I agree. We'll talk about it more next time. David, first of all, let's finish this up. We've seen video games turned into movies before. Kind of limited success. Again, we talked about Need to Speed coming out this weekend. There's another one on the way. It's a follow-up to a 2007, at least box office-wise, mediocre performer called Hitman.
Right.
This one's called Agent 47. What do we know, like casting, plot, stuff like that?
Well, we know that this is a sequel/reboot, whatever that means, but they've pretty much recast the entire thing. Thomas Kretschmann. What now?
Seaboot.
Yeah. Thomas Kretschmann has been cast as the secondary villain named Leclerc, chairman of an organization called Syndicate International in the reboot.
Those French people.
This is the second secondary villain role he's won in recent weeks, as he's also playing Baron von Strucker in Age of Ultron. As for Agent 47's primary villain, John Smith, that's Zachary Quinto, and the film's protagonist is Rupert Friend. Is currently shooting. It doesn't have a release date. I have no interest in this.
I don't even remember Hitman.
Had Timothy Oliphant with his head shaved and a barcode on the back of his neck.
Yeah, Rupert Friend is that guy now.
And Olga Kurylenko.
But yeah, it's.
I haven't seen all of it. I've seen bits and pieces of it. It's not good.
This is
which is a shame because I actually like Timothy Oliphant.
What was weird is Hitman, I don't even think is even a thing now. It's not even a big deal in video games like everyone's Call of Duty and Halo and whatnot.
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
I don't even know why they're trying.
Of course, I don't remember Hitman being a really big video game hit anyway.
Right, yeah. Coming up next, Duck Hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
It had its following like 10 years ago.
Yeah, the first-person shooter thing. Yeah, whatever. When is this thing supposed to come out? When are they going to try
No
to
release date.
Oh, so they're
currently
real
shooting.
early on this.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm not going to be anticipating it very much. If you are looking to bring something home on DVD or Blu-ray, not really a whole lot as far as number of titles, but they are big name titles, including the movies still in the top 10 in the box office. We mentioned Frozen, another 2.9 million, almost 3 million. So it's $393 million, but beginning next Tuesday, you can buy it and take it home. Does that hack into their box office?
It probably will a little bit.
No, they do it right. Like, pay $2 extra for your ticket, take home the DVD.
Hey, there you go. Also, a film that most of us who saw it really liked, American Hustle. That comes out next Tuesday.
Didn't see that one.
Yeah. Oh, you. That's
I
right,
didn't
too.
see it
You
yet.
didn't, did you?
I did finally see. Oh, never mind. Catching Fire though.
Finally?
Yeah.
Good, bad, indifferent?
Much better than the first one.
Really?
Huh?
Okay, good. And Saving Mr. Banks, Tom Hanks, about the whole Mary Poppins thing. Nothing TV related to note this week. I found that kind of weird. I don't know why. It just seemed odd to me that nothing TV related was coming out. The least they could do is go back and get like Mod Squad or something like that. Put that on DVD. Anyway, when we come back,
I think they've
put
done
something
that.
out. Come on.
I'm pretty sure they've done that.
I think they have, but I was just, thinking of something. When we come back, as we mentioned, a whole lot of television news to talk about. We'll talk a little bit more about Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. We will talk about CBS. And apparently CBS, there's a reason CBS is number one in the ratings. They just keep renewing all of their stuff. We'll detail it next.
Hope you got your popcorn, because we're back to the Entertainment Roundtable on Superstation 101.
Hey, welcome back in, listening to the Entertainment Roundtable, as we will be talking about a whole lot of CBS. And it's interesting to note, they have gone through and given us a whole rash as we come back to the sounds of Hawaii Five-0. This is actually the theme from the original series, but it doesn't matter. We will be talking about the series here in just a minute and talking about its future, because CBS has renewed some 20 different series here over the past couple of weeks, 18 of them in one big block, and total this past week alone, 19 television shows. We'll start right there, David. They've announced, again, several series. Their hit Big Bang Theory. Not only did they renew it, it's actually not just for one more year.
Right.
They're showing a lot of faith in this. How much?
We get 3 more agonizing multi-camera seasons of Big Bang Theory.
I was watching the one last night, and for some reason, I don't know what it was, because I usually find the show to be actually pretty funny. But for some reason last night, that canned laugh track stuck out to me like a sore thumb.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know why it stuck out in this episode more than it did in any other episode, but for some reason, it was so glaring to me.
Because the more I talk about it and complain about it, the more you see it and the more you hear it.
No, actually,
I'm rubbing off on you, Steve.
You've been complaining about it now for several weeks, and I haven't noticed it. It was just the one that showed up on Thursday night of this week for some reason just seemed so out of place.
What's weird is someone on YouTube did a video where they took out all of the canned laughter from Big Bang Theory.
Have you?
And once you see it, and it's
kind of creepy.
It is, because
really?
Yes,
they say their line and then they're waiting for the canned laughter to stop, and then they say another line, and then it's just really weird.
Okay, I've got to look that up.
Yeah, it's almost like they're having this really heavy, meaningful, deep conversation. They're really carefully considering their words. And it's kind of weird and creepy, man.
Okay, I will check
the one
that out.
where he's trying to give her money or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it does. It comes off as like...
You find it on YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes you a little uncomfortable. Because it plays more like a drama than it would a comedy, because she's like, here, take it.
Yeah.
Are you sure? I mean...
But not to the good effect that... Not to the effect that, like, MASH does. Like, when you get their DVDs, you can actually turn off the laugh track, and it plays correctly.
Right.
But this is just creepy.
Okay, yeah, I got to check that out.
Yeah, you do.
Let's go over the other shows that they did. There's something to be said for remaining remarkably steady, because if you are renewing 18 series, you pretty much know that you got good ratings. We just talked about Big Bang Theory. They have already extended Survivor. Whatever. Let's start with the dramas they have kept. The number one drama rated on television right now is NCIS. They're keeping that. NCIS LA, they're keeping it. Person of Interest continues, so their entire Tuesday night lineup is intact. CSI remains. Hawaii Five-0 actually got another year, so apparently moving it off to Fridays and putting it in front of Blue Bloods actually did it some good. Speaking of which, Blue Bloods is also renewed. Criminal Minds comes back, so does Elementary and The Good Wife. Agree or disagree on any of these?
I don't watch CBS, so I wouldn't
At all?
Yeah, I've tried a number of things. I don't like anything really they put out.
So many shows with cops.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
true,
It's like stop throwing procedurals in my face.
Oh my god!
I don't want it in me. I don't want them anymore.
And here's the thing: coming up, I think it's not this coming week, but the next week, the last week of March and the first week of April is the two-parter of NCIS, where Scott Bakula and the team that could end up becoming NCIS New Orleans are going to be showing up in a two-part episode.
Right.
Now, we saw them do this last year when they tried to do an offshoot of NCIS LA called Red, and that failed, and I'm really not all that worried about it. Scott Bakula has had mixed success on television. We got CCH Pounder and a couple of other people. It depends on the chemistry. Everyone says the chemistry on this one's good. I will be interested to see it, but again, how many procedurals can you have?
Yeah.
You got NCIS, NCIS LA, you got CSI, you've got Hawaii Five-0. You got Criminal Minds in Elementary. You've got Person of Interest, which are all kind of there together. Plus, you got the cop show Blue Bloods, the lawyer show The Good Wife. You know, while they are all successful, let's face it, there's a lot of seeming redundancy.
Yeah, they're like the USA of network television.
Right. I'm waiting for the day, like on one of these shows where somebody gets to a crime scene and says, "Here's how it happened." How do you know? I saw it on. And they reference.
And I love Scott Bakula. I always try to like support whatever he's doing, but you could not pay me to watch this.
See, being the fan that I am of NCIS, I will watch it. My question is whether it's going to be as good.
It was a jilted girlfriend. She was in deep. She had to kill him. How do you know? Because I saw it on an episode of Hawaii Five-0. You know, we haven't even gathered it. No need.
Yep.
No need for evidence.
Let's see. Comedy's coming back other than The Big Bang Theory. Two Broke Girls. You got Mike and Molly. I can't believe this has actually gotten a renewal. Mom. The Millers is in there. And for whatever reason, they've brought back, again, 2.5 Men.
Of course they did. How I Met Your Mother's ending. They have nothing else. They have a bunch of multi-camera laugh track crap comedies. That's what they have.
Yeah, you want the definition of that. 2.5 Men shows up in the dictionary right beside it. And you mentioned it, How I Met Your Mother going away because this is just the end of the season. They're meeting the mom right now. The replacement, which you said you thought the name was
How I Met Your Dad.
How I Met Your Dad. That, I think, starts next fall
to
kind of replace it. And you and I talked about it during the break. I'll probably watch it just to give it the review that we do at the beginning of the year. But they're really going to have to catch me on that premiere to keep me, because as I've looked at it, and you can go back and you can watch older episodes of How I Met Your Mother on cable, and the difference between the quality of 4, 5, 6, even the premiere season, and this year, worlds apart.
Oh man, it was cooking those first couple of seasons.
It was great.
Yeah.
And now you're just
I
looking
would
at it
not
and going,
miss it in seasons 1 and 2, and then it's finally slowly just
we're
sort of tapered off.
It's ebbed off, and it's not really all that much fun. And I'm going to stick with it because I've stuck with it for so long, and I actually kind of like Kristen Milioti.
Yeah,
you know, I think she actually kind of brought something to the show. They just haven't done enough with her.
Her character has her acting, and her with her character that they've written for is more charismatic and interesting than any of the primary characters has been in like 3 years.
Yeah, I would agree. But they just haven't done enough with her this year. But I'll stick with it until the end, just to say that I stuck with it till the end. But yeah, they're really going to have to impress me a lot for me to stick around with this.
I miss the days of the cockamouse.
Yeah, they're going to have to. Bays and Thomas are going to have to throw out their whole playbook and stop stretching this along for so much. You know, it's like stop throwing red herrings at us. Stop.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm just.
I do have to ask though this question because I'm not so certain that you remember. Are we at 4 or has Marshall dealt out all 5 on the slap bet?
I think we have one more left.
I want to say we got one more left.
1 or 2.
I think it's 1.
But there was a whole situation where they were there was some situation where he got more. So
yeah, I don't know. We'll see. As far as other shows, they've announced they're going to be keeping 60 Minutes along with 48 Hours, the 2 news magazines. In addition to Survivor, they're keeping the reality shows The Amazing Race and Undercover Boss. Sticking with CBS for one more detail, our good friend Daniel emailed me quite a few things this week. We talked about it a few weeks ago. The Matthew Perry redo of the classic comedy The Odd Couple. They've announced that Perry's opposite is going to be played by Thomas Lennon. Lennon has been in the canceled Shaun Saves the World, long been a character actor in television shows and movies. He has also written or co-written several films, including Night at the Museum and its sequel, with also he's supposed to be co-writing its third film, which I guess will come out sometime in the next couple of years. He's also a co-writer on the current film Mr. Peabody and Sherman. He wrote several episodes of Reno 911, but he will get a chance to actually become a lead actor this time around. This is one of those shows that I'm not so certain that I'm looking forward to watching for a long period of time, but I'll watch it to review it, yes.
Well, see, Thomas Lennon, he was on Reno 911, correct? He was the chief?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I want to watch it for him. But I'm sure he's going to be the surly one then.
Actually, no. According to what I read, he's the neat freak.
Yeah, because
okay, I can see that. He's
playing
very,
the other guy.
Okay, yeah, he's very fastidious.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty perfect cast. If you're going to remake it, that's really good casting.
Yeah. So I'll probably watch it. I'm just not so certain that this is something that's going to keep my interest long term. But if Lennon is able to have a good say in writing, if not writing it himself, at least in part,
Well, I really hope the reports that it's a multi-camera laugh track are untrue. I don't want to see any more of those ever.
I'm afraid you're probably going to get that because that's the vast majority of the CBS comedies when you think about it. Let's flip over to NBC here, and I didn't realize they were coming out with a series, Constantine. Is this based upon the movie from Keanu Reeves?
No, it's more based on Hellblazer, the comic book that the movie with Keanu Reeves was based on. But
okay, so they're going to come back to the source material a little bit better.
Exactly,
right.
Make him British.
Yeah. In fact, NBC has released their first official promotional image of Matt Ryan as Constantine. He looks like John Constantine from the comics.
Does he really?
He looks
the promotional image looks like a comic book cover of Hellblazer.
It does. His tie even rumpled and loose. Yeah, it looks just like it.
Now, Matt Ryan has previously appeared in Layer Cake and Torchwood.
And is not the quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons.
No, he's not. And David S. Goyer is producing and cracked this story from the pilot with Dexter's Daniel Cerrone, who wrote the script.
Brought Dexter in, huh? Okay.
So I know they made him British, and it's actually going to be set.
I know. I'm so down.
In England.
I'm so down.
Is this this is a fall series?
I believe so.
Okay. Hopefully we'll get some scheduling here pretty soon, know when it's going to happen. We keep talking about it. Fox and their plans for the prequel to the Batman universe, Gotham, of which we seem to be learning even more details. Right, David?
Yeah. They actually put out an official logo. It looks very dark, unquestionably noir. It has a skyline. It's got rain, Zeppelins.
I know they're
Zeppelins.
Yeah, I'm excited about the Zeppelins. They released a very, very long official synopsis, which pretty much recapitulates the news that we've heard so far. We'll see Jim Gordon go from rookie detective to police commissioner over the course of the series. We'll see what circumstances created the iconic Batman supervillains. They've retooled Gordon's origin so that he grew up in the suburbs outside of Gotham, and his father was district attorney. The show will also deal with Gordon's navigation of often underhanded politics of the Gotham criminal justice system, and it looks like the big arc of the show will involve his attempt at solving the high-profile case of the Wayne murders, while forming a kinship and relationship with 12-year-old Bruce Wayne. So I'm assuming he's going to mentor him into becoming the Batman.
Correct me if I'm wrong. We have never actually solved the Wayne murders, have we?
Yes.
Yeah, Joe Chill.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never seen it in any of the TV shows or any of the movies. Speaking of which, let's diverge off of this for just a second, because David told me about this. The very cheesy TV show, which did have a movie starring Adam West and Burt Ward, the Batman film. Apparently, that still has life?
Yeah, DC Comics has been doing a comic book called Batman 66, which follows the story of the Bill Dozier, Adam West Batman series. Now, it was just announced that Kevin Smith is writing like a 12-part arc called Batman 66 and the Green Hornet.
I might have to check that out.
Okay, then.
Yeah. I mean, Kevin Smith doing it, I mean, for campy, cheesy fun, that just sounds
But apparently the comic in general, the Batman 66 comic book, has been really popular and has done really well. It's apparently just as funny as the old show was. They even have the thwocks and the thwaps and the pals and the...
Nice.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go check that out.
Yeah, I may have to look for it. Fox seems to be in the renewal business too, David. Let's start with what they have announced that they're going to continue. They've announced at least 4 series are going to continue on into next year. Which ones?
They are. Where did I put that?
It's
I
right
have too
over.
many things. They got it. They've renewed New Girl, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The Mindy Project, and The Following.
Now, who was it that said? Was it you that said Brooklyn Nine-Nine has gotten much better since its debut?
That was me.
That was David. Okay, I still haven't checked it out.
I have no idea.
The first episode was tepid, and then everything after that has been freaking amazing.
First episode was horrible. I hated it. But they didn't have much faith in one other series. They've canceled one. Which one is that?
Right. After 4 years on the air, they have canceled Raising Hope. Greg Garcia left after season 3. The show went to the Friday night death slot, and the ratings plummeted. But
shocking.
They did actually foresee this coming, so the season 4 finale has been retooled a little bit. They kind of expected it, so it will have closure. It will have an ending, and the show has just been sold into syndication. So they have a little faith in it. But just not enough to keep producing it.
That's what NBC you said?
That's Fox.
Okay, Fox. Never mind.
Over to ABC, the continued transformation, as we were kind of alluding to last segment, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Chloe Bennett, plays Skye on the show, announced that those who are going to see the movie Captain America: The Winter Soldier, they're going to start to begin to see a definite cooperative effort to bring the show into the Marvel movie world. I mean, we saw this a little bit earlier. They kept hyping the whole thing about, hey, this appearance with, we're going to bring the Thor Dark World movie into the TV show, and then it was a magical stick. Are we talking something that's got a little bit more teeth to it?
Well, I think when they were talking about that, they were talking about bringing in more long-term bringing in characters here and there over the course of like a few episodes. Like we just had Lady Sif show up,
right?
But Chloe is saying that if anyone sees a trailer for Captain America, that you'll notice the Shield is a huge part of what's going on in the movie. And there's definitely going to be a big crossover of things happening. And she can't tell you how much, but she can tell you that it's insane. And it'll definitely affect our characters. Everyone definitely go see Captain America 2 and then watch our show.
Okay. She also, correct me if I'm wrong, she alluded something about one of the Avengers.
She didn't say who was coming on the show. She said they were going to have a huge guest star, and when they walked in, she freaked out and jumped on them, and they acted all weirded out. Which I wouldn't act weird out if Chloe Bennett jumped on me. I would be okay with it.
I'd be okay with that. I wouldn't have a problem with it. But
hey.
So now the speculation begins. Who is it? I mean, Robert Downey Jr., would he go and portray Tony Stark one more time?
I think he'd be game to do it.
I mean, we've seen him do TV before. Chris Evans seems to be going effectively from this to finishing up whatever's going on with the second Avengers, and then immediately starting to work on Captain America 2. Liam Hemsworth, is he too busy? Has he got the time? Or is it Jeremy Renner? Could it be Scarlett Johansson? But judging by what Chloe Bennett said, I don't think she necessarily jumped into Scarlett Johansson's arms.
That would be a tragedy.
It would be, wouldn't it?
No,
that would be a good YouTube video.
Yeah, I don't know who it is. I'm assuming it's not Jackson because he's already been on the show, so I wouldn't think she'd be.
And
that
they keep
freaked out
alluding
about
to
it.
the fact that they may come back to him at some point in time.
Yeah,
one would think that they would. While you would want to hype Samuel L. Jackson obviously showing up again, one would think that they probably want to do a little bit more than just say, "Oh, by the way, Samuel L. Jackson's back."
Based on the Coulson storyline that's going on right now, I'm going to assume we're going to get him. We're going to get Jackson at least one more time.
Yeah,
before the season's up.
But one would think that.
I can't believe y'all didn't even mention Ruffalo. For someone
that's right too. Hulk, yeah. I'm sorry.
May have been Ruffalo.
And you know
Maybe
what?
It was
I wouldn't
Ed
have
Norton.
That. I wouldn't.
Ed Norton. It was a real twist.
Maybe it was the guy who played Gallagher.
Let's see here. We talked about Arrow here in a minute. A little bit ago, CW's planned spin-off of Arrow, The Flash, getting much closer to being ready. In fact, close enough. We've seen the costume for the hero. Are you impressed?
I am somewhat impressed. Like I was impressed when I saw the picture they released, but then someone got a bunch of like set footage from their camera phone, and it looks awful. So
but is that the camera phone, you think?
No, it's the costume. The costume kind of sucks, but then we've never really seen. It's baggy and kind of weird looking, but at the same time, we've never really seen Arrow's costume that well. I mean, he's always ensconced in darkness, so hopefully they know what they're doing, and they're gonna.
If you put the lighting right, it'll look good.
Maybe. Hopefully.
Well, I'm just hoping that the show is good.
Fingers crossed, man.
CW Network has picked up, according to a report submitted by Daniel, A show by Rob Thomas called iZombie. It's going to star Rose McIver in the lead role, along with several others. It's what's being termed a procedural supernatural drama. Just right for you there. Cable and the FX comedy Louie, starring comedian Louis C.K. That's coming back to air soon?
It is. It starts back May 5th. They're going to have 14 episodes this season for season 4, and they're going to run 2 a week back-to-back for 7 consecutive weeks.
And the animated show Archer, does it have a future?
It has been renewed for 2 more seasons.
What?
With a possibility of more beyond season 7.
There you go. All right, we can find you online. Where?
Maladjusted.tv for my comedy sketches and web series.
Ryan will be back next week. We'll see what his thoughts of Need for Speed were. Jeff, thank you very much. Appreciate it, sir.
You got it, brother.
You all have a wonderful Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. We thank you for listening to the Entertainment Roundtable.
Yeah.